will be led by Mr. Grant Kelly. Please join us for a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. Approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion's adopted. Consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion's adopted. Number 6.
Six, big night here, and that we recognize some of our premier students in the county, and in advance of you receiving your certificate, I want to personally congratulate you. And we're here as a result of the Duke University Talent Identification Program. They identify academically talented seventh graders based on standardized test scores achieved while attending elementary or middle school. Candidates are identified and invited to complete either the SAT reasoning test or the ACT Assessment College Entrance Examination. Rutherford County Schools had 143 seventh graders to complete one of these two assessments. Of those students, 79 scored at a level which qualifies them for state recognition. These students have been invited to a recognition ceremony at Vanderbilt University. 11 students scored at a level which qualifies them for grand recognition. These students have been invited to a recognition ceremony at Duke University. And at this time, I'd ask Ms. Burning to step up, and she'll call the names of those students, and Dr. Burns will present the certificate.
Mr. Gill and board members, thank you once again for this opportunity for us to recognize these outstanding students. Just a couple of more points about this Duke TIP Talent Identification Program is that this is a wonderful program in that it gives the students and their parents information about planning for high school and thinking beyond high school, and it also provides the school system with information regarding these students' needs. It gives us better information to know how to make educational decisions for them and with them and their parents, whether it be accommodations to their general curriculum or acceleration or whatever. So we really encourage the students to participate, and we're excited to recognize them tonight. I'm going to call the students' names in alphabetical order. Would you like for them to all stand
Please.
as they receive their certificates? And then once all the students have received their certificates, if you all will go out into the lobby, and Mr. Evans is going to take a group picture. And I would also ask that you hold your applause until all of the students have been recognized, or we'll be here till 9. Alexander Abernathy. Holden Ayers. Brianna Ballman. Eric Bean. Craig Bowen. Sarah Bowman. Lindsay Brown. Sarah Burkhalter. Emily Burns. Neil Burton. Rachel Carruthers. Aaron Carey. Michael Chan. Taylor Coyle. Kalasha Colwell. D'Angelo Corzal. Sydney Cox. Caleb Crumpton. Cameron Curtis. Kara Delbridge. Joshua Dunkley. Toyin Edogan. Catherine Falk. Hannah Feathers. Ethan Farrell. Max Finley. Mackenzie Fleming. Tasman Ford. David Fox. Kristen Fuller. Alexis Green. Benjamin Gregory. Zoe Gerda. Cameron Guthrie. Chloe Hale. Emily Claire Hamblin. Amelia Harrison. Julia Henderson. Grayson Hobbs. Riley Holt. Dustin Hudgens. Anu Iyer. Devin Jean. Natalie Jones. Peyton Lee. Nathan Luther. Clifton Matashevsky. Richard McAdams. Cameron McGowan. Finn Mullen. John Thomas Neely. Benjamin Palmer. Benjamin Perry. Olivette Peterson. Chasen Porch. William Price. Eli Ragland. Alexandra Ramsey. Tyler Roberts. Colin Rouse. Bethany Richard. John Russell. Sydney Sanford. Chase Scott. Oji Sharma. Julian Sheets. Cameron Stone. Katie Stuckle. Kirsten Taylor. Jewel Trail. Ryan Tumbleson. Alexa Vale. Benjamin Waldecker. Grant Waldron. Noah Waldron. Elizabeth Wells. Morgan Wilson. Haley Young. Tingping Zhou. Would you join with me in congratulating them? And Mr. Gill, not only are they academically talented, but they're very well behaved. They're almost as well behaved as Dr. Burns was when I taught him. And I really did teach him. Okay, if you all will go out into the lobby and Mr. Evans will take a picture.
She's finished with his. Maybe not. Somebody else is doing his thing. I thought all that was this year to see me and you, Terry. You know that. I had to worry about that meeting.
With everybody leaving, I think I might have separation anxiety.
Where did she teach you, Doc?
At Riverdale.
I think she was a pretty good teacher, wasn't
She
she?
was, yeah.
Yeah. Got a lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah, she does. That goes a long way, you know?
Sir? Oh,
Goes
yeah.
a long way with the teacher.
Yeah, once I read out there, too. Good teachers teach from the heart, not the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of true with her. I mean, you know.
Excess.
Well, heck, I was going to this opportunity. I meant to say John Ash wasn't here at the funeral. I think he had. Well, I tell you what, that was super duper move on our part.
Yeah, you know, I think looking back, it's going to be one of the few things, at least from my perspective. We've done a lot, you've done a lot. That'll be a highlight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I've been kind of grieving ever since. Been the time, but I started figuring I needed a couple of
Hey, Mr. Duke. Real men wear pink.
Yeah.
That's what Terry said.
Congratulations.
all these people here to see us.
Yeah, but this time it was.
I said, we thought all these people were here to see us. Well, I knew it was 2 or 3.
I guess on the old business, my intention is to say I recommended you approve the budget.
I can't remember now why we,
Well, Aaron suggested we do because Donald had to.
oh, the questions about the
Yeah.
ROTC.
That's considered.
He also, I'm just going to bring it up, before we got to the new coordinator of special education, the liaison.
Just what it was.
liaison.
If you can't see Lee, she's right over there.
She is here, good, okay. Okay, well, I think it's about to quiet down.
We got any visitors?
No,
Okay, well,
there's no visitors over there, Joyce. Visitors, I don't see a sheet. Okay, I see
Hi.
Lee Rennick. Hello, Lee.
how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
Lee's actually here to give the BEP Foundation report, right?
Yes, I am.
Great.
It's been a while. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Lee Rennick, and I'm the Executive Director of the Business Education Partnership Foundation. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can actually see what I'm reading. And for those who are unaware of us, we are a 501c3. We were created 23 years ago by some people at the Chamber of Commerce. And our job is to work with the city and the county school system and help their teachers and students learn more about what they're going to have to do once they get out of the school, and how what they learn as far as curriculum is concerned applies in the real world. So I'm here tonight to give you a quick update. And actually, we're coming up on my 10-year anniversary in this position. So I'm going to kind of give you a little update very quickly on what we've done in the last 10 years and how many people have gone through our programs. When I started here, I gave you a little sheet. Since we are about business, I gave you a little sheet on return on investment, since that's what business is all about. And what I did was I looked at your investment, financial investment, versus the money that we raise and based on the number of teachers and students that participate in our programs, and how much of the money that we spend goes towards your teachers and students, and then divided that by how much you fund us. And anyway, so when I started in 2001, you had 189% return. And we have grown just a little bit, because when I started, we had 3 programs. And we now have 14 programs. And you are getting a 440% return, which I'd say in this day and age, that's a little unusual, but anyway, we have been able to expand even in spite of all the economic issues. And when we started, we were paying approximately $1.49 per student, and now it's 99 cents. We have, in the past 10 years, reached, and we're estimating because some of the teachers that we work with obviously have more than one classroom. So this is sort of based on each teacher having one classroom. So it's really probably quite much larger than this. But for the last year, we estimated that we have reached 5,617 students, and that's just last year. And the number of teachers that we've reached in the last year is 174 through all of our programs. I've listed here some of the awards that we've won, and we have started getting a lot of phone calls from other chambers of commerce and other organizations that are interested in either programs that we do or what we are. And in the last year, we've given 3 presentations. One to the Springdale, Arkansas Chamber of Commerce, who came here and were interested in our State Farm Summer Business Camp program, and we spent time with them to help them do the same thing back there. We spoke to Women in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math at MTSU, and we spoke to the Middle Tennessee Association of Insurance Professionals. So it's really exciting that people are starting to call us because they're seeing our programs on our website and wanting to take these programs because they see the success here in Rutherford County and want to take it to their counties and to their schools. So I have put a brochure. I've given each of you a brochure. These are the current programs that we have, and we also have programs that we endorse, obviously programs that we work with. We work with a lot of programs in the community and do projects with them so that multiple community groups are working together. And we have a new addition to this. We are working on creating an all-county arts contingency, and part of that will be education, and it fits in with one of the programs that we do now for high school students called EYAC, which stands for Express Yourself Arts Conference, and it's for high schoolers who are interested in going into the arts as a business. And it's kind of a hard thing to do, so we bring people who are in the arts and actually make money at the arts and work with the students and do like a conference so that they can learn how to be successful in an arts career. And the excellent thing, the thing that's been really good about this is we have been able to bring a number of students down from Smyrna West, and they have participated and they've done really, really well, and several of them have gone on and taken what they've learned and are pursuing schooling at MTSU and other places because of having gone through that program. So, in the last 10 years, very quickly, State Farm Summer Business Camp is a program that we've worked with State Farm. It's an entrepreneurial academy for middle school students, and we've had 340 students go through that. BC3 Academy is for 5th through 12th grade teachers, and it helps them understand how their curriculum is used out in the real world. And they actually go into businesses and learn how it's used, and we've had over 200 teachers go through that. We have a new program we've done that we worked with MTSU, the city and the county schools, to help 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers integrate the new math science curriculum into their schools, have them understand better how that curriculum applies to the real world, and do it hands-on, and bringing in other things like math, social studies and writing and reading at the same time. And we had 28 teachers go through that, and we have 32 that have applied for it this year. We've had 75 counselors go through our Counselor Leadership Institute. In the last 10 years, we've had approximately 2,100 students go through Job Shadow Day. Adopted school, we have over the last 10 years had about 30%, when we started about 30% of the schools were adopted, and now we have about 75% of the schools adopted. And Youth Leadership Rutherford, we have had 300 students go through. So we've had a very successful 10 years. The great part is we started out with a small base of funders and supporters, and that has grown exponentially in the last few years. And actually, we looked at our figures, and not just funders, but funders and volunteers. We have over 3,000 people who have donated their time, money, or services to work with our teachers, our counselors, and our students. Every single one of those people have said they've gotten so much out of the program, and they really appreciate it. So we very much appreciate the school board's support of the BEP, and we are excited that we are able to provide your teachers and your students and your counselors with the activities and the resources that we have, and especially the networking opportunities with the business community. We have just, I just actually went up and worked with Laverne, and I know that they're wanting to put in a new program with the, I can't think of the name of the program. There's a new, the state program that I know they've been bugging me for years. It's Tennessee Scholars. And I know that they're wanting to kind of test it up there. And we have already we're working with several companies to support them financially to start that program up there. And one company has already said that they would do it. So Frankie, which has really never supported anything, and they supported in the community, but they have not worked with the schools through us before. And they have said they would do it. And we have 2 other organizations that we're working with to try to help them support it. So I just wanted to give you a quick overview, and I wanted to end up with kind of telling you a little bit about what some of the students have done that we keep track of, and then I will let you go because I know you have a busy curriculum. We have a lot of the students that participate in our programs do check back with us, and we have had a number of them who have gone through governor's schools. Lots of them are in prestigious colleges and universities, or are in advanced programs in state schools. And we do have one of our very first participants who went through any of our programs at all, who's now working for Google. And we have a young man who, he interned with us 3 years ago at the BEP, and then he went from there to intern with the bullet train, in the people who run the bullet train in Japan. And this summer he will be interning in Japan and working with the equivalent of one of our senators in the Japanese Diet. And he started here, he went to high school at Riverdale, and he is moving forward and wants to be involved in international relations. So we just very much appreciate your support, and if you have any questions, I would love to take them, and
Thank
then I
you,
will
Lee,
let you go on
for that
about your
report.
business.
Questions or comments for Lee?
And I have a whole bunch of goodies for you, but I'm just going to leave them here so you guys can get them later.
Well, we
Thank you.
appreciate your report and all the good work that you continue to do. Lee.
Thank you very much.
Number 9.
Old business. I don't know if there are additional questions on the budget. We hopefully clarified any questions on Tuesday night. And if there are no additional questions, I am prepared to make a recommendation.
Once you make your recommendation, we'll get a motion and then see.
Okay? You hang on just a second. Recommendation is that you approve the 2011-2012 budget of $266,883,810
So
as
moved.
presented.
Discussion. We've had 2 budget meetings and a discussion Tuesday night. Had plenty of questions, but here's your chance to have an additional say.
Compliment Mr. Gill and his staff for putting together as lean a budget as possible and still try to meet all the needs that we would like to accomplish with our students. Of course, we'd like to have more, but we understand the situation as it is economically and in that environment that goes with it.
And I hope and expect that the commission will recognize that.
I think they do. We've had a good relationship with them over the last several years, and I think they just appreciate it.
We'll have our joint meeting with them in 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion's adopted.
10, approval of special course at Laverne High School. Within the first 3 years of a special course, the state must reapprove the course if the teacher listed in the initial special course request changes. Laverne High School is requesting approval of the special course, Honors Mythology, to be taught by Abram Ring. And we recommend that you approve the special course request for Honors Mythology at Laverne High School.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion's adopted. 11.
Rutherford County Schools Engineering Construction Department is currently having a problem with water pressure at David Urey Elementary School. Water pressure has been low for years, and a booster pump was added in the mid-1990s to help with the problem. The maintenance, repair, cost, and capacity of the pump has become a significant issue. The only real solution is to extend an 8-inch water line up Mason Tucker Drive to the school, increasing the pressure. The line will be installed by the town of Smyrna at a cost of $23,200 plus a $5,000 contingency totaling $28,200. Funds will come from the maintenance budget. And we recommend that you approve construction of 8-inch water line extension along Mason Tucker Drive to David Urey Elementary School to increase water pressure at the school for a cost not to exceed $28,200. Project will be funded through the maintenance budget.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion's adopted. We had discussion
12.
about number 12.
Yeah, you know, obviously, the new tenure law has generated a lot of concern, discussion, and probably anxiety for teachers. That said, Ms. Barnes will try to summarize a big part of the law and answer any questions you have.
I think each of you have a copy of the actual law and a copy of the question and answer document that was prepared by Christy Ballard, who's our state legal counsel. I've taken the question and answers and made my own summary, which is a little bit easier even to decipher. First of all, the new tenure law is effective July 1st, 2011. It directly impacts all non-tenured teachers currently employed and those teachers we hire after July 1st. So the group that will be recommended for tenure tonight will be the last group to go under the old law or the current law. And then any ones after that will be under the new law.
So Paul, if I'm a second-year teacher,
Then you will
New
have.
law,
You will have be
I'll be under that umbrella.
required to have 5 years. That is correct. So the new law says that a teacher must have 5 years within a 7-year period, and they must have performance evaluation levels that are above expectations or significantly above expectations during the last 2 years of that 5-year probationary period. So teachers that are currently employed with us that have to work 1 or 2 or 3 more years or whatever will have to meet that criteria, okay? Once eligible with time and performance, a teacher must be recommended for tenure or non-renewed, which is similar to the law right now. However, if that teacher is eligible based on time only, but not eligible based on that performance level criteria, that teacher can be continued in employment, and this is what we talked about Tuesday night, on a year-to-year basis until such time that they meet that 2-year requirement of above or significantly above expectations. At that time, that teacher must then be recommended for tenure or non-renewed. Teachers who fall under the new eligibility guidelines can lose their tenure status if at any time after achieving tenure, they have 2 consecutive years of evaluations that are below expectations or significantly below expectations. At that point, they'll be returned to probationary status. And then they're hired on a year-to-year contract until such time they can move up into above expectations or significantly above expectations, and then they can be returned to their tenure status and recommended for that by their school principal.
All right, I've got a question in
Okay.
respect to that. All right, after 2 years of unsatisfactory performance,
Correct.
they go to a probationary stage. How many years, once they're on probation, do they have to get back out of that probationary status and move back to their comfortable tenure position?
Mr. Gill, the way I read it, it just says they're hired on a year-to-year contract until they achieve required performance levels. I did not see a specified number of years that would be given to that teacher.
Okay.
So they could be back,
You saw anything in there either?
they could be back within 2 years. If the next 2 years they had above or
That, correct.
way above, whatever the term
That is correct, and they would return to.
So once they go into the probationary state, though, if they have that's not grounds for dismissal. But
There
if they have
is-
an unsatisfactory year in that first year of a probationary status, it's conceivable that a tenured teacher could become unemployed, right?
Yes, sir, because they're only hired on a year-to-year contract. So that's at the discretion of the Board of Education to continue to rehire that teacher on a year-to-year contract. So if they have very poor evaluations, the system has to make that decision whether to bring back the next year or to release.
And really, isn't it the case, though, that if you're on an annual contract, there doesn't have to be
That's
there's
correct.
no explanation necessary or maybe
That is
even
correct.
given, you're just saying we're
Yes,
not
sir.
going to renew.
Yes, sir.
A teacher falls below the average, the expectation level in year one, do we have any requirement or what procedure will we have as a system to assist that teacher so that, I hope our goal is to assist that teacher to get to those levels. What do we have in place, if anything, to do that?
Well, I would think that that's what we continue to do now. We always assist teachers who fall below our expectations by pulling together our mentoring teams, our teacher facilitators, all of our instruction department, all of the mechanisms that we have in place now to assist teachers in the classroom.
So great question, but they'll be being observed 4 to 6 times during the course of that year. And all the while, I would presume that they'd be getting, redirection or some kind of, some kind of counseling with respect to where they're dropping the ball and.
Yes, sir. And the state has told us they are going to also provide many, many online tools for teachers to go in and observe lessons that are strong lessons so they can compare what they're doing to what these exemplary teachers are doing in these modules that they're watching and to give them ideas of what they need to do in the classroom.
I think I know the answer, is the reason I asked the question. I believe we do beyond what the state requires us to do in this system. I certainly
We
hope that
do.
we are. And that's what we need to be doing.
Yes, sir.
Is provide that opportunity for these folks to go back and meet those things, because we don't want to be in a position where we want them to fail.
And we have such a strong staff development program in Rutherford County. We have multiple opportunities for teachers to come into at the teacher center or wherever they host those trainings and offer trainings throughout the year for all of our staff.
Yeah, in connection with Mr. Tackett's statement, I don't think anybody sets out to be a bad teacher. They need help sometimes. Maybe that they didn't get while they're in college, and, that's where we do our PLCs and peer mentoring, and most principals have mentors for teachers.
Correct.
That would be the course best traveled rather than, I don't think any of us looking to get rid of folks.
I think it's really fair to say, and this is not a knock toward any teacher education program, 'cause I'm kind of part of that at MTSU now. But at the same time, the thoughts of going into a classroom as a first-year teacher in this environment now with all the expectations there, that practical experience is simply not there. And I know what now with the expectations that the teachers have in their classrooms, with test scores and so forth, they're rightfully so jealous of their time in the classroom. And so the opportunities for student teachers to get in front of the classroom and do some of those kind of things are lower now, because teachers just understand, my job is on the line here. I can't turn my classroom over to a 21-year-old non-teacher. And so it behooves us to do everything we can for those first-year teachers.
And I think we certainly do. We invest a lot in our teachers. Well, we do with our trainings and our personnel here at the central office that assist our teachers. So I think we do everything we can to help our teachers succeed.
You know, along those same lines, the new plan in which student teaching is now going to be a year-long experience rather than a semester-long, I mean, that raises some issues, doesn't it?
That is
for
correct. We
us?
were just talking about that the other day, and that's something I think the universities are looking at to decide. It may not be a 10-week student teaching session where they're in complete control of the classroom. It may be a variety of experiences while they're in that school. So they experience several different concepts while at the school, but not taking over the entire class. So the teacher still maintains control and has access to her students, and that will help in that situation.
Actually, I'm one of the 3 superintendents that's on the board to try to coordinate to bring that whole plan to fruition. And originally, it was really, we felt more doable because the stakes were a little bit different than they are now. But like you say, you know, if 50% of my evaluation is based on my test scores, and I'm going to be handed a student teacher for 10, 12, 14, 16 weeks or even longer, then that's kind of a frightening proposition, you know. So we still are trying to work through the hoops at the same time, work with the university. How many student teachers did we take last year? You have any idea?
Probably 200. We place about
250?
250 a year.
How many?
About 250.
250 student teachers last year, and that's, you know.
I mean, I think there's a model, and we're getting maybe off where we're at, but the model hopefully would be in this year-long process that the teacher in the classroom can use that extra set of hands to get into a co-teaching situation.
That's the way it's gotta
And you really enhance the educational opportunity, even though the teacher may not get as much practical experience in front of 25 kids. You get a year-long process. If you're with a good teacher and you sit there and observe and watch and get the chance to get into the groups and so forth, I mean, I think we can make that a better situation for our teachers if we kind of work along those lines.
Yes, sir. We agree. We think there'll be a variety of experiences rather than taking over the whole class for a period of time. So with those teachers who may fall below the expectations, if they do that for a consecutive 2 years, then they may be hired on a year-to-year contract until such time that they improve their scores. That will be a yearly decision. For teachers who currently have tenure, including those recommended by the board tonight, they may not lose their tenure under this new state law. But the state did redefine the term inefficiency, which is one of the reasons for dismissal of a tenured teacher. So inefficiency is now being defined as having demonstrated an overall performance effectiveness level that is below expectations or significantly below expectations, which again is similar to the current law. I mean, we have the ability to terminate a tenured teacher now if their performance falls below a certain level, so the state has defined it in this new law as well. The last point is that teachers who achieve tenure after July 1 leave the system and then return must now serve a 2-year probationary period. Currently, they have to come back and serve a 1-year probationary period before being reinstated for tenure. So after this, it will be 2 years. Any questions?
That's good information for the public as well as us to know, and I think certainly the teachers
That's
need
correct. And we
it's
have
good
sent
explanation,
this-
because I know that a lot of them have already had some questions on it.
We've sent it to the principals to share with their staff. We'll be putting it in news and notes so the teachers are aware of this as well.
Good job.
Thank you.
Paul. 13.
Tenure for certified employees. Tenure with the Rutherford County School System is awarded to certified teachers who meet the following criteria: have a degree from an approved 4-year college, or to any vocational teacher who has the equivalent amount of training established and licensed by the State Board of Education, holds a valid professional license based on training covering the subjects of grades taught, has completed a probationary period of 3 school years or not less than 27 months within the last 5-year period, the last to be employed as a regular teacher, is reemployed by the Board of Education for service after the probationary period, and recommend that you approve the list of teachers as presented for tenure with the Rutherford County School System.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion's adopted. 14.
Approval of non-renewal for non-tenured teachers. The Board must authorize the Director of Schools' recommendation for non-renewal of non-tenured teachers. Recommend that you authorize the Director of Schools' recommendation for non-renewal of non-tenured teachers at the conclusion of the 2010-2011 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion's adopted. 15.
Student discipline appeal. Board has been requested to review the April 21st, 2011 decision of the Disciplinary Hearing Authority to uphold the remandment of a student from Riverdale High School to Daniel McKee Alternative School. This review is pursuant to the provisions of Policy 6.318. Policy states that the board shall review the record and shall, 1, affirm the decision of the DHA, 2, modify the decision to a lesser penalty, 3, grant a second hearing which would be before the board, 4, deny a request for a board hearing.
On the decision of DHA.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion's adopted. 16.
Rutherford County Teacher Recruitment Fair, and this is a information-only item. Rutherford County Teacher Recruitment Fair will be held on Saturday, May the 14th, 2011, at Laverne High School from 9 till 12 noon. The informational flyer is posted on the Rutherford County Schools website and has been distributed to college and university career centers in Tennessee and surrounding states. All school administrators and central office program coordinators will be available to meet with the applicants. And of course, we invite the board to show, and it's a big day. Each school has a booth set up or an area, and they show a lot of school spirit. And you think it was the colleges recruiting college football players, the way they display trophies and banners and wear their school shirts and all. It's really a neat day, and we've had, golly, how many, Ms. Barnes, 5?
This will be our 4th recruitment fair.
How many, typically we have 400, 500, 600 people show.
600 to 800.
Yeah.
One year we had over 800 people in attendance. It was a wonderful experience. So 600 to 800 is an average.
Absolutely. Great day.
General discussion. Wayne.
A clarification on the evaluation process, like at one of our high schools, Riverdale has, what, almost, they have 2,300?
2,200, 2,250, yeah, something like that.
Okay, and then they have 130 teachers or certified?
Oh, they got more than that.
Oh, it's,
160, 150, 160.
so 4 evaluations. So that's over
4 to 6.
4 to 6. That's what, 600 to 800
Yeah.
evaluations in a school year.
Right.
Logistically, can that be done?
Well, I mean, that's the reason folks are nervous. Now, there is a different amount of time you have to spend in a classroom. I mean, there's some that's kind of a checklist. You go through, you spend 10 minutes, you're out of there. Other times are full-blown, lesson-length observations. So, I mean, I know everybody, we've got an assistant principal here, and I know Mr. Horn, I know everybody's a little fearful of what they're about to embark on, but that's the reason we're hiring those 5 evaluators. Also, we're training folks down here that conceivably could go out and offer help when needed. So, I know it's going to be trial and error a little bit the first year, see if we can make it or not.
Wow. And the other question was a clarification on the BEP formula as far as the 1.6 raise that the state has promoted or given. So if I'm understanding correctly, because of Rutherford County's size and tax base, that the state is going to pay 1.8% of that, and the other 0.8 is going to be local money. So it's a 50-50 share.
Yes,
based on
close.
our
It's,
formula for
yeah,
Rutherford County.
Right, there are 2 separate raises the teachers that are proposed in here. One is a 1.6% raise that the governor had kind of put his stamp of approval on for teachers, and that truly is a raise, and that'll be lasting. a little over half of that raise will come from the state, and then we'll have to pick the balance of it up out of general purpose or local money. Now, there's also, in addition to that 1.6, there's a 1.4% bonus as a result of the Education Jobs Act that the federal government gave us money. And if you recall, last year we gave them teachers about a little over 2%, I believe. So we're picking up an additional 1.4% as a one-time bonus for the teachers. So in respect, there'll be a 1.6 continued raise, and there'll be a 1.4% bonus out of federal money and the state. And as you said, the state and local are pretty much even matching funds on the raise.
What I didn't realize is that different counties pay different percentages into as far as the local part,
Yeah.
depending on their ability to pay. So-
Yeah, I don't know the formula. Ms. Sandvik's going to the commission, but it is, it's part of that BEP formula. Counties that have a more solid tax structure, tax base, have to provide more towards the funding of their local school system. And some of the poorer counties who have, who may only have a couple corner markets and maybe a grocery store and a place to get your tires changed, they can't cut it like we can.
Yes, sir.
And the state helps them out a little more.
Other discussion?
Dr. Burns.
Yes, sir.
Last Friday, I had the opportunity, upon invitation, to attend Oakland High School's academic pep rally, which a lot of schools now are doing. And really neat event that took place. And I think one thing I was reminded how impressed I am with how many teachers are willing to kind of do some fun and unusual things in a play format in this case to provide some entertainment for their kids. So my congratulations. There were over 140 4.0 students that were recognized that day. And I think we need to kind of recognize not only with these Duke kids that were here today, but also across, I'm sure every high school has a percentage that would be, in that neighborhood or so, all those good students. And we talk about how difficult times are for teachers at this point in time. I think those are the kids who make the hook for teachers to stay in the buggy, so to speak, make their day pleasant. In that process, I had a chance to visit with some of my former colleagues and such. Colonel Rector, who is the ROTC instructor, Joyce, if you can pop that up for me. I asked her to put up a email that he told me about this. It took place, and I thought this is pretty spiffy. So I wanted to just kind of read it for those that can't read it maybe by TV. He provided this information to me. Brownwood Mullen, ROTC cadet at Oakland, and Josh Walker from OHS competed on a team of approximately 25 students from Rutherford County, from OHS, Riverdale, Blackman, Central Magnet, in the best national championships for robotics and presentations in Orlando, Florida, 13-17 of April. Over 900 teams from North America and the world competed. Our group from Rutherford County finished second overall in the robotics competition. The other area competition was scientific presentation, which these kids were not involved. These were the only two events, so the results were pretty impressive. Then he just let me know that he was not aware of the scope. And then he goes on to talk about Brownwood Mullen will attend Governor's School this summer for emerging technology and was also on the Junior ROTC Leadership and Academic Bowl team that reached the final round of 24 teams to compete this summer in Washington, D.C. in an academic Jeopardy-style type game. And he says she's one smart kid. So I just wanted to highlight that. It seems to me second place out of 900 teams in North America.
Good.
Is pretty good. And it really is a neat thing that that's 4 schools that were involved in that. That's called collaboration at the highest level. So I thought that was worth some notes of commendation. Want to make the board aware of that. Congratulations to all those students.
Thanks for bringing us that, Tim. Here, you got a handout.
Yeah, I actually, pursuant to you guys' request the other night, got you a list of portables in Rutherford County. It reflects where they're located. We still, despite all the schools we've built and all the additions we've done, we still have 148 portable classrooms in use. This year, we had 11 requests for additional portables, and that matched the number we had in excess after we did a little arm twisting and said, guys, we got to make it. We don't need to go out and buy portables. I'm sure some schools would have liked to had a portable that didn't get it, but our principals worked with us, and they indicated they would manage it as best they could. Also, thought it was pretty interesting out to the right. There's some notes from particular schools. Pretty interesting. Right in the middle of the page, Oakland Middle has 2 floating or roving teachers already. Be their second year of opening. But anyway, I thought that was pretty useful information.
That's good information.
Yeah.
I guess the ones that are in so-called bad shape, we're just duct taping them together as best we can.
Duct tape, little
10 to 11.
glue, little.
Yeah.
There, Mr. Clardy's bunch does a pretty good job.
Yes, sir.
I think Mr. Horn would attest to that, taking care of pretty much everything.
I know we'd all like to get out of the trailer classroom business.
Actually had a pretty interesting meeting yesterday with Melissa Stinson, who's with, who oversees the insurance department of the county, and also one of her responsibilities is the Care Here program we got, and we're needing to expand our Care Here. And we talked about, she asked if there's a portable available, and I said, no, there's not. We suggested that she, look at the Metro surplus list or somewhere else. But, they may have to move out of Rock Springs Middle because they're going to need a full-time nurse. She just thinks in the next 2 or 3 years, they'll probably need at least one more clinic, maybe even 2, to locate all that throughout the county. So I suggest you go back to Mayor Birch and see if he could come up with a little money to add maybe a room on the side of one of the buildings that, they could access from an outside door and keep them out of the buildings, because it's such a valuable service to the teachers and all county employees.
All right, well, thank you for that information. 148.
Wow.
Other discussion? If not, we are adjourned.